All right, so the mini review in our packet, let's go over this real quickly. We talked about this in class, labeling. So, remember, always mark where you can. The legs are the same. Now, I say label, you could say, leg, hypotenuse. We're also looking at the formulas, kind of a cheat sheet. So the legs are going to be X and the X, the same. And remember, with 45, 90s, to find the hypotenuse, this board is way off today, all we do is take X times radical 2. Now, on this one, on B, remember, this is our small legs. That's what we always want to start with. Our hypotenuse, right there, is always just 2 times the short leg. And the long leg, right here, is always X times radical 3. And remember, we always need to know what a hypotenuse is from the Pythagorean theorem. That's always going to be C. And then it's just A squared plus B squared. All right? So, let's get into these. On number 1, now remember, you don't have to do these on the quiz all mixed up. You can do all the 45, 90s, all the 30, 60, 90s, and all the Pythagorean. But you still have to recognize them. On number 1, it's very common for people to put like, 6 root 2 or 6 root 3 or something crazy like that. Notice, I have no angles marked on number 1. If I don't give you any angles, and I just give you 2 numbers, that's Pythagorean theorem. Now remember, this is very important to know that's C. It doesn't matter which one's A and B. But that means we have 6 squared plus B squared equals 10 squared. Now again, if you wrote A squared plus 6 squared, it doesn't matter. And I know my 6 and my B kind of look the same there, sorry. So, this is going to be B squared is equal to 10 squared minus 6 squared. We move that over. So that's going to be B squared equals 64. And then we square root both sides, and that gives me an answer 8 here. Now, on number 2, we have 45, 90. These are equal to each other. So if that's 11, that's 11. And how do we go to the hypotenuse? Simply tack on a root 2. Okay, 30, 60, 90. Always go for the short leg first. Now, what's the relationship between the hypotenuse and the short leg? Times 2 divided by 2. So think, am I getting bigger or smaller going this direction? Well, the hypotenuse is the longest side, so I have to be getting smaller. So I'm going to do divide by 2 and get 9 here. Now, how do I go from here to here? Well, short leg, long leg. Am I getting bigger or smaller? I'm getting bigger. So I'm going to multiply by radical 3. So that's simply 9 radical 3. Number 4, legs are equal. So how do I go from here to here? Well, I'm getting smaller, so I'm going to divide by radical 2. Now, the long way is to say radical 6 divided by radical 2, and then rationalize. And this is okay, but it's a lot more work. Because then I have radical 12 over 2. And then I have to simplify this, and I get 2 radical 3 over 2, cancel, and there's my answer, radical 3. But the shortcut is radical 6 divided by radical 2, that's divisible. That's simply just radical 3, and I'm done. And you can check your work. Don't I multiply by radical 2 to go there? Radical 3 times radical 2 is radical 6. Easy enough. Number 5, again, I gave you no angles. There's my hypotenuse, C. So it's going to be 4 squared plus 3 squared equals C squared. So that's going to be 16 plus 9 equals C squared. So C squared is 25. I take the square root of both sides, and that gives me 5 here. Okay, where's my short side? Right here. What do I have? My long side. If I'm going from the long side to the short side, am I getting bigger or smaller? I'm getting smaller, so I divide. What's my magic radical? Radical 3. So I simply do 3 radical 3 divided by radical 3. And that's a nice one, because that cancels, and that gives me 3 here. And how do I go from here to here? Multiply by 2. And we're done. That's it.